Good morning to everyone. I hope you all settled in. I'm Shreya Sudesh, your host for the day, and on behalf of the entire GIBEF team, I would like to warmly welcome you all to the Global Business and Impact Ecosystem Forum, which is taking place for the first time here in New Delhi and is bringing together people and organizations from the impact ecosystems of India, Latin America, and the United Kingdom. The forum has been created and promoted by EKHOS, an Argentinian organization that has been working for 7 years, linking the impact ecosystems of India and the Latin America. GIBEF is co-organized with ABWCI, Association of Businesswomen in Commerce and Industries, a virtual global chamber for women entrepreneurs, enabling and celebrating women's business acumen and ambition through connecting our members to industry leaders, professional development resources, and relevant opportunities. GIBEF is co-organized by IDEA, Inclusive Divyangjan Entrepreneur Association, IDEA, an organization that serves as a platform dedicated to fostering employment and entrepreneurship opportunities for people with disabilities. This forum's regional partners are the Red de Impacto LATAM Network and the Social Enterprise World Forum. The Impacto LATAM Network is an organization that was born in 2020 and brings together more than 250 organizations of the Latin American impact ecosystem from Mexico to Argentina, and has the purpose of uniting all those organizations that support impact enterprises and entrepreneurs in Latin America, promoting collaboration and generating alliances in order to contribute to the economic well-being of the region. The GIBEF is supported by Social Enterprise World Forum, an organization whose goal is to strengthen the global social enterprise movement to accelerate our transition to a new economy. The GIBEF is also being accompanied by the tourism agency Traditional India Tours, which accompanies EKHOS and all delegations that have traveled from Latin America to India since 2017. This year too, Traditional India Tours is managing the delegation from Latin America that is present in this forum. This forum has 58 speakers, moderators, and workshop facilitators from Latin America, India, and the UK, all deeply committed to the goal of generating synergies between impact ecosystems across regions, primarily in the global south. We thank all the people and organizations involved in the preparation of this forum, the co-organizers and regional partners, the supporting organizations, our dissemination partners, the Vishwa Yuva Kendra team, and all the suppliers and participants for being part of this project. On this bright, fortunate morning of the 18th of Feb, we welcome you to the day one of the GIBEF, and I would now like to invite Jessica Oyarbide, co-founder of EKHOS and co-director of the Global Impact Businesses and Ecosystem Forum, to share her words at the podium. Thank you.
Good morning and good evening, everyone, for the people that is online. For some of you, this may be just another business event, but for us, this is the harvest of over 7 years of work and over 12 years since we first stepped into the Indian impact ecosystem. Today, I want to share with you our vision of the past, the present, and the future. And when we first came to India, we found not only hundreds of social enterprises, but a fertile soil and a ground for them to grow. The Indian impact ecosystem left a deep imprint on our personal and professional path. And for us, this led us to create EKHOS with the aim of connecting the impact ecosystems of India and Latin America. At first glance, our regions might seem very different and far apart, but if we look closer, we will find that we have more in common than what we think. Latin America and India share many of the same challenges: poverty, informality, rural development, financial inclusion, all these challenges, making it essential for our impact ecosystems to learn from each other and generate lasting change. Over the past decade, trade between Latin America and India has grown significantly. However, the impact sector has yet to be fully integrated into this economic agenda. Our mission is to bridge that gap, ensuring that impact businesses and investments become a central part of the relationship between these two regions. Though it might seem like India and Latin America are distant and different, they share similar challenges, like I was just saying. Both regions have populations grappling with poverty and a large informal workforce. India with over 1.6 billion people, and Latin America 665 million people. Despite these challenges, in recent years, there's been a significant rise in cross-business activity, with both regions fostering impactful business relationships. In fact, over the past decade, trade and investments between India and Latin America have surged, especially in key sectors such as climate tech, financial inclusion, and health. And the potential for collaboration between these two regions is enormous. Back in 2017, we organized our first immersion trip to the impact ecosystem of India with 4 pioneers who believed in our vision. Since then, we've continued bringing delegations, expanding our reach regionally, and strengthening impact ecosystems at local, national, and international levels. We co-created the Impact Latam network, bridging together over 60 organizations to map our impact ecosystems and to foster collaboration. We have worked with municipalities, states, with governments, with different kind of actors to enable impact ecosystem at different levels. We work with different actors, and one of our proudest projects between India and Latin America was facilitating an alliance that allowed for 4 women from La Puna in Jujuy, indigenous communities of our country, to travel to India and get trained at Barefoot College, proving that real impact is built through partnerships. 2 years ago, we engaged with the UK impact ecosystem, where we found not only a strong culture of collaboration to foster the development of impact ecosystems, but also a lot of efforts put to connect Indian and Latin American enterprises with the UK market. This reinforced our belief in the power of cross-collaboration and cooperation. And today, this marks a huge milestone in our journey. We have always dreamt of gathering leaders from the different impact ecosystems to foster a collaborative dialogue, identifying common challenges and opportunities, and creating a shared roadmap towards systemic change. This Global Impact Businesses and Ecosystem Forum is not just an event to hear experts, which we will, but it's also a fertile ground where connections will take root and grow. Just like mycelium connects fungi beneath the earth, this forum aims to weave a network that strengthens and expands the global impact movement. In a world where inclusion, diversity, and environmental care are increasingly at risk, these conversations that we'll have these 2 days are vital. As for EKHOS, our next step with Vir and our team is very clear. We will continue building bridges between impact ecosystems to mobilize businesses, investments across Latin America, India, the UK, and globally. We aim to be strategic allies, facilitating not only connections, but also financial, legal frameworks that enable those collaborations to thrive. We are honored to welcome all of you here today, and all of people that is online too. And we want to give a very special thanks to our co-organizers, the ABYCI team, Parul, Gaurav, Shantanu, Savita, Bharat, Shivika, Vaya, all the IDEA team, Malik, Shanu, Chaitanya, Nikhil, Sakshi, and Pankaj. Social Enterprise World Forum, we have Hina, representative, Jerry, Rebecca, and all the team. And of course, Red Impacto too, with Alvaro, Natalia, Ross, and Noe, who have joined us on this journey. So that was about the past and the present. And I want to leave you with a few key questions. How can we learn from each other to overcome our challenges? How can we add value to each other? What is the future we want to co-create? Welcome to the first edition of the Global Impact Businesses and Ecosystem Forum, and let's bridge this impact and shape a better future together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica. I would now like to call upon Shri Rajesh Aggarwal ji, Secretary, Government of India, Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities. A distinguished IAS officer from the 1989 batch, he has been at the forefront of leveraging technology for governance, ensuring targeted subsidies, reducing corruption, and enhancing service delivery. A key contributor to Aadhaar, Jan Dhan, DigiLocker, and Jeevan Praman, he has also authored over 70 cyber jurisprudence judgments under the IT Act. Passionate about accessibility and Indian language computing, he continues to drive digital inclusion and e-governance innovations in India. Sir.
Good day to everyone. Honorable Smriti ma'am, last year when she was Women Child Minister, she released a SOP for our hundreds of thousands of Anganwadi workers to really do early diagnostics and help parents and children with disabilities. So I am very happy to see her here. Our friends from Latin America and a lot of known Indian faces here. So morning everyone. In India, we really believe in the world is one slogan, and we absorb a lot of good ideas from others and would love to contribute and collaborate with a lot of others. So on absorption part, for example, in this sector, we are very closely working with Melbourne University for community-based courses, because we found that they are really one of the world's best. We are running a number of courses with them, and we are trying to expand our collaboration with them. With Gallaudet University, USA, we are working a lot on deafness culture, the deaf education, etc. So they work in a very different kind of manner. With UK, we are having collaborations on mental health, and also their Royal School for Blind is really good and very old, and we are picking up a lot of ideas from them. From South America, from Brazil, we have picked up the idea of taking assistive technology to people by use of mobile vans in remote areas, etc. So we had a lot of interaction with them. So again, from Brazil and Australia, they seem to be good on insurance for persons with disabilities than us. So we are trying to pick up ideas from them. So we would love to work with basically anyone across the globe on this. Secondly, where we are already contributing or we would love to collaborate much further is, first is rehab professionals. Across the globe, there is massive shortage of psychologists, physiotherapists, occupational physiotherapists, audio-verbal therapists, audiologists, prostheticians, and so on. So we train obviously hundreds of thousands of people every year, and fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of them are going abroad. So we are happy about contributing a lot of manpower to the world, but we are ourselves facing a lot of shortages. So any joint collaborations between our universities, etc., to run joint courses of certification, faculty exchange, student exchange, we would love to work on those ideas. And obviously, due to economic factors, India will be a big contributor in providing rehab professionals across the world. Prosthetics, we are probably 1/10 of the cost of the Europe and Western world. If let us say artificial knee joint of a particular quality costs $5,000 to manufacture in West, and maybe $20,000 or $25,000 to actually do the entire servicing, we are doing it at $300-400. So really in prosthetics, we are 1/10 of the cost, same quality, etc. Cochlear implants, though they are coming from outside, basically 3 European companies, they dominate the world market. Just like medical tourism, there is a massive booming influx of patients wanting cochlear implant surgeries here, and in our best hospitals like Apollo and Vedanta, etc. Because the whole package costs 1/4 of the package of what it costs outside. So lot of surgeries, lot of assistive technologies, lot of prosthetics, so they are happening here. So some of you would have heard of Jaipur foot, which became famous in 1970s. So they are going across the globe, and same day fitting and really very inexpensive fittings, but now again they are For example, they are working with Japanese collaborators on 3D printing. So we love to absorb any kind of technology, any ideas, any educational content from outside, and we love to work with you guys. We have signed letters of intent with South Africa and Chile in that area, and I am in constant touch with Chile ambassador here. And again, the idea is more of assistive technology exchanges. In India, we have more than 500 startups in assistive technology sector. My department is working very actively with about 200 of them, validating their services products. And I believe in 5 years' time, at least 50 of them will survive and maybe 20, 30 will thrive. So that's a good success ratio in startup world. We have more than 1,000 NGOs working in this sector. Many in early intervention, many in education, many in skilling and employments. For example, the IDEA group is well known for skilling and entrepreneurship for persons with disabilities. And we're also talking of purple economy of two kinds. One is products and services by persons with disabilities. So they're good education, skilling, proper assistive technologies that helps them in betterment, more loans, etc. from banks. Then second is the whole product and services for persons with disabilities. That's a very, very big market across the globe. If WHO or anyone else, basically the figures range from 5 to 20% persons with disabilities across the globe. Some feel it's between 10 to 15%. Whatever is the number, it's a very big market, especially old people, and now the demography is changing. So, and old people across the world, they do have, many of them have enough money to spend on themselves and spend on services. So that's where the real meat lies for when you're trying to sell products for persons with disabilities. So it's a big market. We would love to work with all of you. So I'm very happy that IDEA and EKHOS have come together for this partnership, and from government side, we'll be fully there whenever you ask us to be there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You here again. As you know, we are Argentina and India are celebrating now its 76th anniversary, but last year we had the 75th anniversary of the starting of the diplomatic relations between the two countries. The link between Argentina and India has an obvious characteristic of we are very far, we belong to different cultures. But at the same time, we have a common interest. We share values. We are two democracies. India is the largest democracy in the world. Argentina is not so large, although our territory is almost the same as India, but we have a reduced population in terms of, in relative terms, if you compare with India. But at the same time, that situation is a good opportunity, since Argentina is a country with almost unlimited natural resources, and it has the opportunity to cooperate with a large country as India, to the point that Argentina has a potential possibility to provide food security to the world, and to especially to large markets as India, who is becoming, it will become in the next years as to the third stage, to the third largest economy, maybe in 3, 4, 5, or 6 years. As I was telling you, the trade relationship between Argentina and India has been growing a lot, and in the last, let's say, 5 or 6 years, it has developed to the stage that India is today it's among our 6 largest trade partners. Argentina is #1 provider in terms of soybean oil, and #3 in terms of sunflower oil. So as our good friend, the president of ORF, of the Observe Research Foundation, Samir Saran says, in some way, Argentina is present in every table or in every kitchen of the Indian households, even when most people don't know that, but you are eating a part of Argentina's production every day. Yes. Yes. So Argentina's and India's trade is among $5 billion. Most of what we export here is edible oils, but of course we have to expand that and to diversify our commerce, our trade with India. And we are working in, I would say, 3 specific areas in which we are going to expand this trade and this economic relationship between the 2 countries. One is lithium. In terms of lithium, we are going to, we are having very important investments from India in some provinces of Argentina. We are going to have today, this afternoon, it will arrive the governor of Catamarca, which is a state in the north of Argentina. We call provinces, but it's the same as states here. It's equivalent to a chief minister. And they are working very good in terms of lithium, and we are expanding that in this area in mining. Then there is another area, very important area in which Argentina has worked with India, is a nuclear field. Argentina has provided a nuclear reactor to India in Mumbai with medicine purposes, but it's Argentina and India are countries that had a very high development in this area. And the third one is what I would like to mention is that Argentina is a country that possesses a huge reserve of gas, among the largest in the world, and we are developing that. It's called Vaca Muerta, it's in the south of Argentina, and here we had in the recent months the presence of 2 times the presence of the president of YPF, which is our national oil company, oil and gas company, and we are offering, and Argentina has a big opportunity to provide not only food security but energy security to a country that we observe as one of the most successful countries in the world. India has been growing at a very high measure, and as we were saying, you are the economy #5, but you will become #3 soon or quite soon. So we are convinced that that Latin America in general, but Argentina in particular, it has a great opportunity to have a strategic relationship with India. The only thing we always ask the Indian authorities, the minister, she's not in the cabinet now, but she has been and she will be back soon, I must I am sure because of her very talented political trajectory, is that we need more attention for Latin America. We are all the time working together with the Latin American group of embassies here and the Indian government, because we work together, and we are absolutely convinced that this will be for the benefit of our countries. And in the case of Argentina, we are sure that the best in the relationship is yet to come. So I would like to stop here, because if not, I talk too much. I would like to, if later there are some questions, I can answer if I know how to do it. And also I want to thank Ana Colombo from the economic section of the embassy, who has been working very close with you. And of course, give the welcoming once again to the Argentine friends that have come to India. And I hope this is an opportunity for you to meet with counterparts and to start new relationships and to start business and opportunities. So thank you, Virginia, for letting us come here to convey this message, and all the best for these upcoming days in which you are going to be working here with your counterparts. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I would now like to take this opportunity to introduce Ms. Smriti Irani, former Cabinet Minister, Government of India, to join us. Smriti Irani is a senior politician, 3-time Member of Parliament, and former Cabinet Minister. She has held key positions in the Indian government and was elected to global parliamentary bodies, including the IPU Task Force for Young Parliamentarians. Recognized as a young global leader by WEF in 2015, she has also championed accessibility through initiatives like Saksham and served as USAID Goodwill Ambassador for the WHO ORS program. A strong advocate for women's empowerment and entrepreneurship, she has played a pivotal role in policy reforms, supporting small businesses and skill development. Her leadership has driven initiatives promoting sustainable economic growth and financial inclusion in India. Ma'am, we welcome you to address this gathering. Thank you.
It's not every morning that you begin your day with inclusion and trade on the same dais. My congratulations first to EKHOS, to ABWCI for bringing together a potent mix of those who believe in sustainability, those who believe in social impact, and those who foster trade. As has been enunciated in my introduction, I am a little bit of a gender flag bearer. I am grateful to Secretary for speaking of my contribution towards impacting the health of young children below the age of 6 and pregnant and lactating mothers across 1.4 million Anganwadis in my country. I do not have the flair of Ambassador Argentina to speak about what is on my kitchen table. Neither can I fondly speak of trade and the relationship between our two countries. And I think that's where the largest challenge lies. Communication can foster collaborations and partnerships. And today, the attempt to bring together those who create opportunities which are inclusive, which are sustainable, which impact not only economies but also social change, I think is the foundation of a great and equitable future. I go back to the inaugural speech given by Jessica, the 3 questions that we need to answer. And one of the questions that was pronounced today is about the future, though much has been spoken of past effort. So if a future is gender just, what would it look like from an Indian lens? As Indians in the room will proudly share with you, we are 968 million who are registered to vote in one of the largest democracies of the world. Of those in 2024, 642 million Indians turned up, of which 312 million were women. Today in India, 127 million young girls are in our schooling system, and 20 million young women are in higher education. But if you ask any Indian woman who's in the room, including the young charming lady who introduced me, we are 432 million Indian women who are of working age, of which 343 million are currently working. Now, if there's something that can in some way best describe inclusion, it is what is the opportunities we create across the social spectrum of one of the world's largest democracies. Ambassador was kind enough to mention my service as minister in the Modi government, and I was first-hand witness to what all we could contribute to under the Prime Minister's leadership. A decade ago began this effort of ensuring those who did not have a bank account, were not formally engaged with financial institutions, have bank officers land up at their doorstep. A partnership between bureaucracy, polity, and banks. So much so that 500 million Indians, for the first time in their lives, had a bank account due to a program called Jan Dhan Yojana. I'm proud that of those 500 million, approximately 240 million were Indian women. Now, what happens when Indians learn to bank? 300 million loans under a flagship scheme called Mudra were given to women who own small businesses. Now, though we have spoken of the tyranny of distance between our two countries' ambassadors, imagine this, the tyranny of distance between a woman in a house and a bank maybe in her own province, her own district, or her own block. Most of these loans have been given to women who do very basic businesses, businesses that either run from their own communities or run from their own homes. These are women who have never made a business plan. People presumed that to make a business plan, you would need a fancy chartered accountant, a fancy administrative manager, or other fancy, I believe, adornments that a managerial team gets to a business. So imagine 300 million loans given to women who made a business plan. They not only procured the credit from banks in India, they also made sure that they serviced their loan and paid back and become a part of an economy which made them a robust contributor. I'm happy to today share that of the 300 million loans given, once banks looked at the data, we found that the NPA, non-performing assets, in those loans given to women were less than 1.9%. And with apologies to gentlemen, irrespective of their nationality in the room, NPA for male-owned businesses was between 2.3 to 2.5%. So India has created a global evidence case for ensuring that women in business, small business or mid-sized business, make for great investment opportunities. The world over, today, if you look at leadership of women in corporate entities, the global average is about 5%. The Asian average oscillates around it, but in India, 8% of corporate leaders in my country are women, which means that we are inching towards a new reality where we see corporate leadership give more and more opportunity, much needed and much deserved by women in my country. According to the Global Board Diversity Tracker, women in Indian boards today have a higher average of contribution as compared to our global counterparts. 22% women hold more than one board position in India as compared to 12% men. If I have to make a business case today of especially those women who are in the rural ramparts of my country, of the 500 million bank accounts opened, if you remember that number that I gave you, and the 240 million bank accounts opened for particularly women, 67% of them were opened in rural and semi-urban India, which means that today the World Bank Global Findex report says that India no longer has a gender gap in account ownership. My request to our Latin American friends is, can we start computing that data for women in your countries? I think because data is the new God. Now, banks in my country have now ascertained, after a decade-old introspection, reflection on data which has come forth, that a woman's lifetime revenue opportunity that she creates for a bank is 12% higher than men. So like I said, we in India have made a space for evidence-based interface between governments, financial institutions, and women in our communities. We are hoping that our friends across the globe can learn or possibly collaborate on Indian learnings. And why do I keep harping about the impact of financially strengthening women? There was a study done by the Harvard Kennedy School which found that women invest 90% of their earnings in their families, as compared to 30% by men. So I am not somebody who is a flag bearer and anti-men. I am somebody who just says women make for a far greater and better investment opportunity as compared to possibly men. But I do leave the floor open to any man who can espouse the cause of men. Point to be noted that on a dais with two men, I'm the only lady. But instead of pulling at bitter ends of gender, instead of pulling at the bitter ends of ideas that divide communities, societies, what can be that one glue that brings us all together? One of the fascinating questions I had the opportunity of asking Ambassador was, how many hours of a flight would it take for me to go to your country? Charming as he is, he did compute the time, which I shall not pronounce, because all it gave me was a sense of jet lag. But what can bring us closer? Jessica, in her opening remarks, said not only a very nice good morning, but also good evening to people back home who have joined digitally this interface. Technology is that glue that possibly will bring us together. But if I put the gender lens to technology and AI, what is the challenge today? How many of our communities are ready for the disruption that technology brings in the garb of equity? Reflect on this. Anybody here from the automobile industry will know that today, if we are looking at safety measures which are AI powered in the automobile industry, most of the body designs are those which are men. In the same situation in a road accident, a pregnant woman, a female frame, or somebody with disability is rarely tested. And research today shows that because that form, that physicality, that vulnerability is rarely tested, in the same circumstance in a road accident, close to 40% more chances of women dying, irrespective of the safety features that have been looked into thanks to AI. Another issue for you to reflect on. A very famous case in Apple, which was challenged by a lady at Berkeley House. She did, in fact, a study on it. Anybody who loves Google as a scholar may want to look it up. She had the same bank account, savings, in fact, less expenses than her husband. The gentleman there is so audible that I can almost give him my mic. She had less expenses than her husband, was from a tax perspective more disciplined than her husband. shared the same taxation and same economic framework as her husband, but the algorithm computed her existence such that the credit card spend limit that that lady got was 20 times lower. So in a world which speaks about AI, generative AI, in a world that talks about AI agents, in a world which now is stuck between ChatGPT and DeepSeek, the question we need to ask is, where do we stand? I'm not as proficient in technology as our secretary is, but where do we honestly stand? Imagine this. If I take away the focus from India and Latin America and just look at Africa, how many people actually have access to the internet in the lowest economies of the world? How many people have access to affordable devices in some of the most challenged economic circumstances? And when generative AI is built, it is built on systems after you scrape through the entire internet. In how many of our local languages does the internet speak? How many of our tribal languages, how many of our dialects are lost because technology doesn't speak that language? Let me give you another facet to consider. While in India, Prime Minister Modi has created an opportunity to ensure the devices are affordable and produced right here in India, the question that begets some of the brightest trade minds who will come together in this summit is, what can you do to make technology more and more affordable in your country? I see one of the communication placards here talks about accessibility is a human right. Imagine that accessibility that is denied because people do not understand technology. When I say people do not understand technology, today research shows that if an AI agent is introduced into a corporate entity, 70% of that work gets automated. How many women, how many those who are possibly challenged physically do entry-level work in corporate entities? Know how to punch in a great letter, compute how to write a great email, work the front desk, pick up that call. How many of those opportunities have been created by trade, which will vanish when disruptive technology is introduced? So that's what I'm hoping your reflection on. While you look at opportunities to trade, please also look at opportunities where technology will disrupt, but you will create equity and accessibility. I wish you well. It is indeed a great effort that some of the most well-meaning people come together, irrespective of their geographies, to impact change. Secretary and I were speaking about disruptions politically seen the world over. And one of the disruptions in terms of sustainability is also in green technology. So while Ambassador speaks about nuclear power, let's also look at what is the potential of sustainable businesses the world over. In the year 2024, globally, the market size of just green technology-based businesses was around $24 billion. The question is, how much of that pie was shared between trade partners in India and Latin America? I'm sure technology, equity, accessibilities, new opportunities, and preparing for disruption will become the very threshold on which conversations begin on this platform. My best wishes and congratulations for an effort very, very, very well done.
Thank you, ma'am. I think the crowd will have to take some time to really, for all those thoughts to really sink in. It was, I believe the insights that you've shared with us today have truly given all of us a lot to think about, not just women, but definitely men as well, and to work towards, especially as a global forum of investors, entrepreneurs, and young professionals. I thank you so much, ma'am, for spending your time with us today. And I'd also like to thank our esteemed guests who are all spending their valuable time with all of us today. I would now request Virginia to take over and present the mementos to our dear guests. Virginia, I request you to, yeah. Yeah.